Hello friends, welcome to our channel Hamari Kahani by Sakshi Foundation. As we all know that Wing Commander Abhinandan has been released and Pakistan is taking undue advantage from this. To discuss this, we have with us Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dhiman. So, a very warm welcome to you, sir, on our channel.
Thank you, Sakshi, for calling me to your channel. It's really been a privilege to be with you. Thank you very much.
Sir, in an aftermath of Balakot strike, as we all know, Captain Abhinandan has been freed. Is it a goodwill gesture by the Pak PM?
Well, it was said by the Pakistan Prime Minister in the Parliament कि हम हिंदुस्तान के पायलट को रिहा कर रहे हैं एज ए गुडविल पीस जेस्चर. अब वो पीस जेस्चर था कि नहीं, वी कैन ऑलवेज एनालाइज व्हाट इट वाज. सबसे पहले हमें ये देखना है कि मोमेंट वी न्यू दैट वन ऑफ आवर पायलट्स हैज बीन शॉट and is ejected into the Pakistani territories, the entire Indian diplomatic machinery came into action. Immediately they informed all the missions all over the world that yes, our pilot has been shot down and he is in the Pakistan custody as of now. So we admitted that it is our pilot. Thereafter, this particular thing means what? This means that classically speaking, now Abhinandan was a prisoner of war. And once you are a prisoner of war in a country, then Geneva Convention applies to you. The Geneva Convention, the connotations are that the prisoner of war has to be treated properly. He cannot be tortured, he cannot be manhandled. No, he has to be, you can ask him certain questions and certain questions you cannot ask him. So that way Pakistan was bound. And thereafter he has to be released within maximum 7 days. Okay, besides he becoming a classical PW, that is a prisoner of war, all the countries in the world, especially the P5 countries, barring China, they all exerted diplomatic pressure over Pakistan and told him that please ensure that the pilot is not harmed and is given back to India. Besides that, even the countries like OIC, that is Islamic Organization of Islamic Cooperation, they also started exerting pressure on Pakistan, like countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and even countries like New Zealand, Australia, UK, France. They started pressurizing Pakistan that pilot must be returned. So under these conditions, Pakistan had no choice but to return them. And finally what happened was that, if you all remember, that in the morning when the Donald Trump, that the President of America, was in Hanoi in talks with the President of North Korea, he made a statement that you will hear a good news in the evening. The good news was simply this thing, that Americans had told Pakistan that please ensure that pilot is not harmed and is returned properly in proper shape. Otherwise, there is a risk of escalation of hostilities. And there were unconfirmed reports have told us that they were told categorically that all your 8 major air bases in Pakistan, they are all on Indian hit list. They are, whether the aerial means or by the ground means. और अगर आपको याद होगा, इसी समय पाकिस्तान ने अपना एंटायर एयर स्पेस शट डाउन कर दिया था. सारी ट्रांस कंट्री फ्लाइट्स फ्रॉम एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड वर ऑल बैंड and there were no flights taking over from Pakistan, no flight landing in any airport of the Pakistan. This was the reason. So if that was the reason, and Americans have said it, and American president has declared it in no uncertain terms, good news is coming, well, then we can take Pakistan Prime Minister's statement in the Parliament that it was a peace gesture, goodwill gesture, with a pinch of salt.
Do you think he was tortured?
Well, at the face of it, no country would accept that yes, he was tortured. And there are no reports whether he was tortured. But then, as you all know, we have seen him, his video which went viral with the blood all over his face. He's being dragged into that water body. But then there were all the civilians. Probably when he landed in a particular place in Pakistan, all the civilians who caught him for the first time, and they thought he's an Indian pilot, and they probably mishandled him something. And thereafter, he was rescued by the Pakistanis. And then there was the interview which went viral, which Pakistani major was interviewing, asking him certain questions. और अगर आपको याद हो, that statement of Abhinandan, I'm not supposed to tell you this, became viral and became a big media news in India. So whether he was tortured or not tortured, and whether he was telling all these statements on goodwill and actual, we don't know. But there must have been some pressure on him. So saying that he was tortured, or not tortured, one cannot confirm it. But one cannot avoid it also. I mean, the possibility of this thing cannot be denied.
Do you think he was drugged?
Well, as regards his being drugged is concerned, again, as I said, there are no confirmed reports, and whatever video we saw of Abhinandan with a Pakistani major, he himself says yes, he was not drugged, and maybe whatever answers he gave and statement he made, he said, okay, when I'll go back to my country, I will not change my statements. With this kind of a thing, it has to be taken with a pinch of salt. But then one thing which raises doubts is that once his date of his release came, the first information that we got that he'll be crossing over to India, first of all, it was this India had offered that we'll send a plane to Pakistan, which Pakistan refused. That was first. Thereafter, when it came that he'll cross over from Wagah border, it was in the morning first. Then it was postponed in the afternoon. Then we were told it is evening. Then we were told it was a late evening finally when he came. Now the suspicion comes here. The first thing what will happen to Abhinandan once he reaches India was his medical examination. So in case they have drugged him and tried to extract certain statements out of him after his influence of drugs, well, that drugs would still be in his blood, and in a medical examination they will be revealed. So उस चीज़ को अवॉइड करने के लिए हो सकता है पाकिस्तानियों ने उसके रिलीज़ को डिले किया जितना कर सकते थे, ताकि जो ड्रग्स का इन्फ्लुएंस उसके ब्लड में है वो कम होता चला जाए, और जब वो फाइनली इंडिया में पहुंचे और उसका मेडिकल एग्जामिनेशन हो तो वो ड्रग्स उसके ब्लड में नजर ना आए. तो पॉसिबली दिस कुड बी द रीजन.
Sir, you said that USA was resentful that Pak used F-16 supplied by them. What could be the reason for this dissent?
Okay, Americans are resentful that why Pakistan has used F-16s against Indian territory or targets in India. But then the point is, Americans gave F-16s and other arms to Pakistan under something called Pressley's Amendment in the US Parliament. Now, under this, Pakistan was under a ban for supply of arms. But this was released to him on a condition that these arms and ammunitions would be used only against the terrorists, only against the terrorist forces, and secondly, in Pakistan's self-defense. But if Pakistan has used that weapon against India, which they have denied that we have not sent any F-16s into Indian territory, well, that was not permitted. So that was one reason Pakistan could face further sanctions from American Senate on this. And secondly, the company which manufactures F-16s is Lockheed Martin in America. Now they are the manufacturers and they are pitching all over the world to sell this weapon system. And F-16, as you know, was supposed to be some kind of a invincible multi-role combat fighter, and with lot of good track records, some proven, some not proven. So F-16 being shot down by a MiG-21 is a very, very big sort of a loss to the fame of the prestige of the F-16. So it has become very difficult for the company to go again to the rest of the countries and tell them that, okay, we want to sell this weapon system to you. Even they tried to sell to India also. Of course, they had offered better versions of F-16 to India, but India, finally the contract went to Rafale. But finally, still they had hopes that India would start manufacturing F-16 India itself. They had offered a manufacturing facility in India for the F-16. So with this kind of a event, where a F-16 is shot by a 60s vintage aircraft, that is MiG-21, well, it is a big sort of a setback. So with these two things, their sales going down and their Senate questioning that the weapons have been used for a wrong purpose would be a setback for the Americans. So they're not happy with this F-16 being shot down.